She's just a girl, the girl you want. Hello, everyone. Amy and Samir here on the Book Club for Movies. It is Friday, January 29th. This is our last show of January. At the end of the show, we will be premiering our February lineup. We're so excited, but we're going to do that at the very end. So stick around. Yeah. Happy Friday, Samir. How's your Friday going?
Happy Friday, Amy.
Thanks. How's it going?
It's fine. It's Friday.
Do you have any movie plans this weekend?
I've got to try to get through some more of the Leaving Criterion Collection titles.
Ooh,
because there's still a few in there that I wanted to watch. I got quite a few in the last couple weeks, mostly horror stuff. So I rewatched The Black Cat, and I watched Make Way for Tomorrow, which is not horror, but what else did I watch in there? I think The Seventh Victim is only in there till the end of the month, but I actually own a digital copy of that anyway, so I didn't need to watch that one. But yeah, there's a bunch in there. So I'm trying to get through some of those. I still promised you I would watch The New World or whatever it's called.
Yes. Because
hello, Luke, and hello, welcome, Fred.
As a director on why isn't this loading? I'm just trying to share a video. It's not hard. Come on, Facebook.
Video of what?
Of us.
Oh, of us. Oh, it's like another video? We're playing one in here for the show today?
No, really stupid. Okay, let's just talk about something else. Okay, anyway, guys, we will be talking about Tank Girl, which is our cult classic Friday pick for today. Yesterday, though, we did part 4 of our true crime documentaries that we did every Thursday over the month of January. Yesterday's was the train wreck, Abducted in Plain Sight. Samir, so you had only seen the beginning of this before. Now that you've seen the entire film, and you were texting me throughout the whole movie with some highlight lines.
There were just so many weird moments in this movie. Okay, so we talked yesterday about the idea of like the parent, like how much blame do the parents have in this story? Because sometimes, the criminal is also adept at seducing the parents into accepting what in any other situation you would consider bizarre behavior. But right. There were so many weird twisted levels to this story, like the fact that the person who was a child molester was, instead of being reported to the police by the Mormon church, was sent to a therapist whose therapy included sleeping with children, which these parents then let him do.
And it turns out that therapist wasn't even a real therapist, or the license had been removed or something. It's like this.
Yeah, it was so weird. So there was that, and then I'd never gotten to the part where the girl had been drugged and she wakes up and hears an alien suddenly there's an alien mission that becomes a part of this plot. And at every single point when something weird is happening, the parents have the choice to call someone or not. They always choose to not call because they didn't want to get all these people involved. And then all the time that they wasted not calling is made it exponentially more difficult to solve the problem. So I'm I am firmly in the camp of these are the worst parents ever.
Yeah, and I mean, clearly, I do think that the parents were conditioned as well, but that's not an excuse given that they are adults. And they
let the same thing happen twice.
Yeah, I mean, and just the complete they're so naive, and they said we grew up in this town where no one ever locks their doors and we love our neighbors. That's great that you live in that community, but there are
But
people
you
outside that
also
community, and those people are bad.
you also raised a child who could not distinguish between the potential reality of aliens abducting and drugging her and forcing her to mate with an adult like 30 years older than her. Like if she had, they had perhaps been raised with a touch more life experience in some way, a touch more worldliness brought into their lives, then she probably would not have believed that like a weird answering machine box from 1978 was actually an alien communication device telling her to have sex with the 40-year-old in the next room. And then she believed it. And she's like, oh, well, I'm like, I don't blame the child or the victim in any way because, what happened. Clearly, this child believed it so much that they carried it on for years. I just couldn't believe.
Yeah, this went on for like 4 years. Is what's I mean, this movie is just crazy on top of crazy with a dash of insanity on top of that. But the fact that this went on for so long is mind blowing. On top of everything else, as a documentary, there were some weird like reenactment things, which reenactments are always a little like, like I think they could have gotten the child reenacting the main the victim. I feel like they could have gotten her a better wig. But it's the way they weave it all together, though, like just some great interviews of, again, so many people that were actually involved in this with these idiot parents. And then, like the main guy on the case who was just, everyone was just very honest about the experience.
I guess, this was...
I told them not to talk to him anymore, and that they did not do that. I got so frustrated.
But like even the way he said that line, I remember when I'm listening and watching in that moment, he's like, I told them not to talk to him, and then they did not do that. It was like there was a pause where I'm like, oh, they did that. And then it was like, oh no, they didn't do what they said. And so things got much worse. But yeah, those home movie reenactments, they were filmed like they were home movies, but there was actually some home movies, I think, mixed into the film. So it was weird to have reenactments filmed like home movies with more attractive people playing everybody.
It took a little bit of time to realize, like, because for a second I was like, these people filmed everything.
I know. You're like, geez, they had tons of things to work with here. I'm like, oh no.
I can't imagine film not being very cheap in the 70s. they're filming a gift that they received. It's like, it's a reenactment. Okay.
Yeah, the gift basket, I think you were telling me.
That was the start of like, wait.
There's something like, who filmed that? Like, where did they take their photography class? In this little town where people think aliens speak to them through little white boxes in trailers.
Yeah, the whole thing with the fact that there was a motorhome involved too. It's like, oh my god!
It's in a motorhome.
There's having an affair with him in the motorhome.
And also, this dude apparently had played this long con, because it took years for him to make that happen. He had played this long con on other families, because there was like evidence of multiple cases of things with this person. And they were like all friends. Like this Mormon dad even jerked him off in the car. This guy convinced a Mormon dude to like cheat on his wife in his eyes by
the worst thing I've ever done.
Leaving. Yeah, but then he says that like 3 more times. It was the worst thing I ever did.
It's like, how about the worst thing you ever do is let your child get raped multiple times by a man that you let sleep in her bed. Maybe that's the worst thing you've done. Let's think about that.
There's too many options for that, for that title, for the things he did. But they were all like so just matter of fact. It was just like calm. Like I was like, they are talking about this, like the parents. I'm like, the mom especially, it felt like she was talking about this like they had lost a dog. Like it was just so like, and so we didn't call the police, and we didn't want that.
Then we'll give him a call.
And then she confesses to like having fallen in love with him also, with this guy. It became like there's this movie, this Pasolini film called Teorema, I guess in English it's just Theorem. And in that movie, it's like there's this sort of drifter type character who drifts into this sort of wealthy family's life, and he proceeds to have sex with everybody in the house. They're the mother, the father, the maid, and the college-age son who's visiting home from college for a short spell. And they're all like drastically changed by this experience. And I was like, okay, this is obviously some sort of like weird, fantastical thing that would never happen. Like, why would a whole family do that with the same person? And then there's this movie, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like, this actually happened, but it was like so much worse than a fictional film envisioned this. The reality was so bizarre that, like, is there really any other way to try to tell than just be like, I'm just going to say it? Because if I try to amplify anything or editorialize on any of this, you will think I'm making shit up, but I am not making shit up. This all happened. I can completely understand why this movie suddenly just fascinated everyone, because it, like I said, it looks like just one of those random one-off things that's kind of like not going to be very well made and kind of not be great interview footage, and they're just sort of cobbling together something that they can slap together and throw onto one of these streaming apps and sell for a little bit of money. Only like every now and then amongst that group of movies pops up something like this where you're like, oh my God, this is just sort of slipped in there. Like, this is just one of a rabble of nonsensical things that they produce. But this is like, oh crap. Like, this happened?
I think one of the most interesting things about this documentary, and this is a trait that has in common with some other true crime documentaries, is that when you see the whole picture, you could really see how much of this could have been avoided if just certain people had taken different actions or had stood up, or like maybe we did call earlier. You know, like we've talked before on our Thursdays. Samir and I had recently watched that new Netflix series, The Ripper. There was so much in that could have been avoided if only like some of these police officers didn't make the mistakes that they did. And even with the Night Stalker series that came out too, there were some things there. It's like, okay, things could have gone a lot smoother. It could have been over a lot faster if this had happened. And the same thing with this, and the fact that this just went on for so many years. It's just an absolutely insane story. So if you didn't see it, it's on Netflix. I think it should be required viewing for anyone who has children, has young nieces and nephews that they care about, wants to have children. You know, put yourself in the situation and think, what would I do? And if you would do what these parents would do, maybe reconsider having children. Maybe work on yourself a little bit more, learn a little more about the world, then maybe have kids.
Yes, and if your neighbor's therapy involves him sleeping with your child, then you just say no to that.
Just say no. It's never a good idea, guys. Never a good idea.
It's just not. It's really not.
Yeah. Anyway, but this movie is just like a trip. I watched this with my parents, and my mom was just like laughing at so many things. I'm like, like, oh my God.
Like, yeah, and it's horrible to laugh at this story, but like, it's so ludicrous.
Stupidity.
That you're just like, you assume that like this has to be fake. You just keep assuming it has to be fake. This can't be real. No, it's not.
Yeah,
apparently it's real.
They wrote a book about it prior to this documentary. The mom and the daughter wrote a book, which I'm sure is a real page turner, has probably a lot more details that they couldn't put in here for time purposes. But anyway, really worth watching. It's insane. Gotta watch it. But today is Friday, Cult Classic Friday, our favorite. I don't know. I was gonna say favorite day of the week. Yes, but not because of. Yeah, we like all of our days we do movie talks on. But our final Friday of the month of January, and we picked Tank Girl. Tank Girl. I go way back with this movie, although I haven't seen it since. Okay, so basically, I saw this movie in middle school. My friend Tess was really into this movie. She introduced me to this. She was Tank Girl for Halloween a few times. So I watched this a few times with her, but I don't think I've seen this since 8th grade, maybe 9th grade. So it's been a while. It's been a while. But this movie came out in 1995. A girl, it really should be a woman. A girl is among the few survivors of a dystopian Earth. Riding a war tank, she fights against the tyranny of a mega corporation that dominates the remaining potable water supply of the planet. This is based on the comic strip and comic books of Tank Girl, starring Lori Petty, Ice-T, Naomi Watts, Malcolm McDowell is also in this. Directed by Rachel Talalay. That's fun to say.
Oh, you know why I know that name now? Now it brings it back. Rachel Talalay was the producer of most of the Freddy Krueger films at New Line Cinema, and directed one of the worst ones, but campy fun it was nonetheless, with its 3D sequence and everything. So when you mentioned that name, I was like, oh, it's like adding it up now. It's all.
Yeah. This is one of Naomi Watts' first big films. I'm guessing they filmed this in Australia because they have so many Australian people in it. This movie, this was heavily edited after it was filmed. It was going to be a lot more risque. MGM was like, we can't have this. It was edited so heavily to the point where the creators of the comic strip weren't really happy with how this turned out. Of just like, this is not really what we wanted. The director also seems like she wasn't very happy with this. I was looking at the IMDb trivia for this, and okay, so there are these creatures in this film. They're kind of like these kangaroo people, and they're very strange, really incredible makeup. That's all real, these prosthetics they were wearing. But this is at the top of the list for Tank Girl trivia here. MGM insisted on cutting a scene of Tank Girl and her kangaroo boyfriend Booga reclining after sex, despite spending $5,000 on a prosthetic penis for Booga. Which, reading more about that, apparently it was quite impressive. It was 10 inches, and it had to be cut. And then another fun thing was someone was giving Ice-T crap about being in this. And to which Ice-T said, I was paid $800,000 for that movie. The host moved on. This movie has an amazing soundtrack. Devo, Joan Jett, they were going to get some other people. I read that they were going to get Green Day to be in it before, but then they blew up like as they were filming it, and then they couldn't afford them anymore. Yeah, but it's just like a fun, zany 90s movie. That's certainly a cult classic. It's weird. It's a weird movie.
If you were a weird kid in high school, then you probably saw this movie. When it came out. After that, I'm not sure, because it didn't have it's a genuine cult classic. It doesn't have a lot of media. There's not a lot of like articles being like, remember Tank Girl? There's no like modern appreciation articles about Tank Girl to like remind us about the film. So it doesn't have that kind of reputation. And when you watch it, I'm pretty sure you'll agree it probably doesn't need those articles. But it is going to be a really fun movie. And I distinctly remember that soundtrack. I think I actually may have had the CD.
I have, yeah. I think I just have it digitally now. But yeah,
I remember they used it in the trailers. It was like the biggest selling point about the movie was its soundtrack and its weirdness. So those are all good enough for my group of friends.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this movie in forever, but I frequently listen to that soundtrack. It's just in regular rotation in my. I still have an iPod. I've got an iPod Classic to listen to in the car. So
I would imagine the budget for the music that probably ate up a lot of their budget on this movie too, because there's a lot of very well-known artists represented in this movie.
Yeah, let me see what the budget was. It had $25 million budget, but it only made
pretty big.
Well, it only made a little over 4 million.
Well, that's not as big.
Yeah, so you could say this tanked.
Oh, you're so punny, Amy.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this did not do well at the box office, which is, it's probably one of those things where it became more popular after the fact. Certainly a cult classic. This is available to rent. I know they have it on Amazon. You could rent it for $3.99. You could purchase it digitally for $4.99. So
that is how popular this movie is.
Yeah, so if you feel like you're going to want to watch it multiple times, maybe spend that extra dollar and own it digitally. Yeah. Anyway,
will
but
you
that's
be sorry you spent the extra dollar or not? It's a gamble. You can't go to the casinos right now, so why not gamble on this?
Yeah, I don't really like owning movies digitally. I still buy DVDs and stuff. Again, I just mentioned I still have an iPod Classic, so that's where my mindset is. But otherwise, if you do have a collection of digital movies, I would say that's worth the extra dollar if you have to rent it.
Yeah, I like having them too. Some movies, it's just easier because it's hard to find a DVD of it. And there's a digital copy. I'll have that. Plus, I can watch that when I take my phone with me somewhere else. All I have to do is I can stream it through somebody else's television somehow. So that makes it fun to have in that sense. But I don't know how many opportunities you're going to really have to show Tank Girl to people. I do have some people that I think would appreciate it, and that would be useful. So maybe I will buy it just to have variety in my list of purchased films, which is already a really strange collection of things, like the last Leprechaun movie and Carmen Miranda movie and Ernst Lubitsch movies, and maybe now Tank Girl will join the group.
You have to add this Australian classic of Tank Girl. I remember the production design being pretty cool in this. Her outfits, I read also she wears like 18 different outfits and hairstyles in this. So it's visually, it's a fun movie. But we'll get back to Tank Girl. It's Friday, which is our Patreon Appreciation Day. We have someone new that was added, and we'll get to her. So screenwriters are Miss Julia Lajoie, my aunt, Crystal Mayer. Production assistants are Nicole Flex, Tatlook, Andres Gallego. Our new Patreon is Donna Robinson. Thank you, Donna, for joining if you were watching us today. And we've still got Mr. Walter Murray as our day player. Again, he also had Venmo'd me money. So he actually does have a pick in our February calendar. But if you are interested in supporting us financially, please consider contributing to our Patreon. It starts at $2 a month. Just $2. Just $2. But we really appreciate it. It all does add up. And if you do the screenwriter tier or higher, you can contribute to the calendar pending our approval of what the movie is. Big fine print there. But so far, everyone's been picking good movies.
So far, yes. I don't think we'll be really in danger of having to actually tell somebody I'm sorry now.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, but so far, so good. I think the people who regularly watch this obviously have a great appreciation of movies, just like talking about movies, and can pick some good ones. But I put the link over there in the comments. It's too late to contribute to our February calendar if you're interested in doing the screenwriter tier, but you can join now. We'll get you in for March. We're still, as of now, planning on doing this at least through April.
Yeah.
And we'll keep going, but we already have April is Oscar month, and we already have almost everything planned out for that because we get excited about the Oscars. But we really appreciate our Patreons. Thank you guys so much. And thank you guys. So we have a few of our Patreons watching. We really, really appreciate it. But now the moment a few of you have been waiting for. We will be debuting our February calendar. But first, let's look back on the wonderful month that we've had. Let me pull up our January calendar here. Starting off with a Patreon pick of The Matrix. I remember our Angela Bassett Day had to be canceled because
it turned out to be a stranger day than anyone imagined.
Yes. Of course, we had our true crime documentaries every Thursday. We had some Oscar-winning performances. We had an Indian actor. Yeah, this was fun. We need to talk about Kevin. Can't forget that.
So what was one of your favorites from this last month?
I would say a tie. Well, okay. Old favorites would be Velvet Goldmine. Because that was really nice to reconnect with that movie. I did end up buying the soundtrack. It's still one of my favorite movies. I'd say my favorite new film that I hadn't seen before would be The Merry Widow.
Yeah, I feel like that will become part of your regular classics rotation now, because
it was great. That's definitely one. If I see that, I'll buy that on Blu-ray or Criterion or whatever.
Well, let's Criterion to give us the special edition of that movie that it deserves, because it really, we should have learned a lot more about how that movie was made. It's just so beautiful. It's like I said, it's rare when you watch a movie and you're like, how it is perfect. Like, I can't think of any way I would make this movie better. Can't think of anything that failed in it, So it deserves to be studied, I think, and appreciated. So let's send in those letters to Criterion Collection to do something really fabulous with that. But I'm glad that you had that reaction, because that's the reaction that everyone kind of has.
Andres said,
look at
would I be able to contribute a demo request for April? Yes. You could either do that now. It's something that we will remember. We do have some criteria for our April films, which, if that's something you want to do, we'll break that down more with you privately. Because we've got a system. We've got big things planned for April. But it's a work, like we had criteria for this next month, or in December, it's like, well, we're only doing Christmas movies, so it has to be one of those. But we did have some criteria for February, and here it is. Without further ado, our February calendar. Dun, da, 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 da. Here we go. So February, of course, being Valentine's month, but also Black History Month. So we always try to highlight non-white actors and filmmakers several times during the month, but really wanted to highlight Black actors and filmmakers this month. We are kicking things off with Walter's Patreon pick, A Raisin in the Sun, which I have never seen. Looking forward to that. February 2nd, of course, is Groundhog Day. So we're doing Groundhog Day. Wednesday, the 3rd, is our Angela Bassett Day, Take 2. Let's hope nothing else crazy happens on that day, because she got pushed from last, January's, but we still really want to talk about her. Every Thursday, for our Genre Thursdays, we thought we would cater to the cat ladies who maybe are single and, okay, I'm talking about myself, but we're doing cat movies every Thursday. For the Aristocats, every Friday for Cult Classics, we tried to pick some fun, more Valentine's themed films, but we've got some more Oscar winning things. We have some new movies. Judas and the Black Messiah on the 22nd. That's going to be a new movie that will be out on HBO Max. So really, really excited to see that. Yes, The Hurricane. That's my favorite Denzel Washington film. But I think another great month. We got Cecily Tyson in there. She wasn't on our calendar actually until yesterday when she passed. we thought, well, we can't go forward with Black History Month without including her, especially now that she passed, and this is one of her Oscar-nominated performance. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Crystal's pick was The Color Purple.
Crystal had many excellent picks as well. It was hard to pick just one.
There was a lot to choose from. Yeah, and I agree, Walter. I do think Denzel should have won for The Hurricane. I agree 100%. Because the year that he won, I wish that Russell Crowe won for A Beautiful Mind. But that's just
But the Oscars is always just trying to. It's like they're just balancing scales rather than giving awards based on the best of the year.
Yeah. But it's going to be a fun month. We had a lot of fun putting this together. Really excited about our Cat Thursdays.
Cat Thursdays, and some of our directors. We also have ironically, we do not have a lesbian drama of any romance. That is an oversight. We do have a queer Black director being celebrated, and a really, sort of generic crowd-pleasing gay romantic comedy drama, something in there, trying to throw in a few things that I hadn't seen in a long time or thought would be fun to revisit. We spent a good amount of time planning out our single Valentine's Day, our Black History Month / single Valentine's Day / cat movie schedule.
Yes, people who actually enjoy Valentine's Day. But there's a whole variety here. I did see The Happiest Season.
I did. I really liked it too. It's been so long since there was a film like, if I'd known beforehand, I thought I probably would have insisted that be one of the holiday movies that we watched during December. But I didn't even know about it until randomly one of my housemates had mentioned it. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's watch it. And I thought it was great, actually.
I want to watch it again. I mean, it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. You can watch that. And then when you've seen the drag queens number in the drag bar in the movie, you can then watch their holiday movie that they made on Hulu.
There we go. You feel like you've been missing out on, if you're missing Christmas, if you're still in an area where it's very wintry, just relive Christmas and watch some Christmas movies that maybe you missed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a fun February this year with the movie choices.
We are. Now, this calendar will be available on our the Facebook group, Book Club for Movies. If you're not a member of that, give it a join. It will be on our Instagram. I always print this out and put it on my refrigerators. It helps me keep track of what I'm doing with my life. Like, what am I doing today? Oh yeah, we're gonna do Groundhog Day. So if you watch this every day, maybe print this out. I try to make it somewhat attractive with my minimal skills of making calendars, which are no skills.
Good enough for me.
Yeah. But we're really looking forward to starting off this month and highlighting all of these amazing people and films and cats. So many cats. And cats. So we'll see you guys on Monday to discuss Sidney Poitier and A Raisin in the Sun. But before that, don't forget to watch Tank Girl this weekend. Again, that is available to rent on Prime Video, or you could purchase it for $1 more if you think you want to watch it again. Everyone have a wonderful weekend. Join us for Tank Girl. Oh yeah, look at her little wait. Kissy face.
Matching Lori Petty in the poster.
Join us on Monday for after the movie discussion of Tank Girl. Moving on to the incredible Sidney Poitier. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you guys Monday.